Look, I'm so tired of hearing about couples falling in love and out of love like it's some outside mysterious force of the universe that determines the fate of the longevity of their relationship, like they are somehow not in control of whether they feel in love or out of love. So in this video, I want to talk about why we feel, quote, in love and how to stay in love by meeting your spouse's top emotional needs. That's today on Relationshots. Welcome to Relationshots. If this is your first time hanging out with us, welcome to the place to get practical relationship advice that actually works in your relationship. Imagine that. If you've not already done so, click the subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss upcoming videos. If you want a free guide to intimacy, check out the link in the description area below. If you're looking for a place to strengthen and grow your marriage, check out our Altered Marriage membership. You will see the link for that in the description area below as well. So, all right, show of hands. Who's in love? Just kidding. Get that stuff out of here. Listen, here's the deal. Being in love is not some mysterious outside-driven force that you're not in control of. Like, it is not some pheromone that you are just predisposed to like the certain scent of people's sweat and not others. It's not based on your astrological sign. Like, well, I mean, I'm a Gemini and they're Scorpio, so I mean, we're just not compatible. That's a bunch of crap. The reality is it's quite simple. We have top emotional needs, and when somebody meets our top emotional needs, we feel loving towards them. We would say we're in love with them. So it's logical to think that if they stop meeting our top emotional needs, we will fall out of love with them. And if Susie or Damien at work is meeting our emotional needs, we'll begin to feel loving towards them and convince ourselves we married the wrong person because we want to pursue the person who's meeting our top emotional needs. So the goal in this video is to help you discover your top emotional needs and your partners in hopes that if you consistently meet their top emotional needs, you will stay in love till death do us part. Before I jump into the emotional needs, slight caveat. At the beginning of every relationship, you have these feelings of love or like or extra interest because there's novelty and discovery at the beginning of a relationship. And as the relationship matures and progresses, you lose some of the novelty and discovery unless you consistently do new things together, unless you consistently do things where you learn new things together. But I'm not talking about that kind of feeling in love because everything's new and everything's fresh and everything that happens is a new discovery and the first time for everything. I'm talking about in a mature relationship over time, how do you stay in love? It's tied to getting your emotional needs met. So, psychologist Dr. Willard Harley wrote a book years ago called His Needs, Her Needs, where through lots of research, he identified and presented the top 5 needs of women and the top 5 needs of men with all his research. And so this is a list of 10 top emotional needs. I'm going to go through the 10 emotional needs. And then at the end, I'm going to give you a challenge that you and your spouse can try to walk out in your relationship. Before we get to those 10, let's start with a working definition of what is an emotional need. Willard Harley describes an emotional need as a craving that when satisfied leaves you with a feeling of happiness and contentment, and when unsatisfied leaves you with a feeling of unhappiness and frustration. That is an emotional need. So I'm going to go through all 10, give a brief description on them, and then challenge you at the end. Number 1 is admiration. That is being complimented or appreciated for who you are or things you've done, admiration. Number 2 is affection. You know, hugs, holding of hands, little I love you texts or notes, kissing. So non-sexual touch, that would be affection. Number 3, recreational companionship. That's simply doing things together, going on a hike together, going to a game together, going to a movie or a concert together. Recreational companionship. Conversation is number 4. That is a desire to connect through questions and discussion, undistracted, and a willingness to both listen and communicate with your partner. That's conversation. Number 5 is domestic support. That is helping out around the house. Things like cleaning, things like cooking, things like laundry, things like chores, things like childcare. All those things would fall under this idea of domestic support. Number 6, financial support. That would be providing income into the relationship. It would also mean staying on budget, It might also mean providing security by not jumping from job to job or being out of jobs or all that comes with that makes somebody feel insecure about the future. Number 7, physical attractiveness. That means your partner looks good, keeps their hygiene up, takes care of themselves, dresses well, eats healthy. That kind of stuff might be important to you. Number 8, family commitment. This means you're committed to the family, whether it's helping out with the children, whether it's prioritizing family time, dinners together, stuff like that. So when a husband refers to watching his own kids as babysitting, that probably wouldn't score real high on the idea of family commitment. Number 9 is honesty and openness. That's a willingness to share stories and events of the past, of the present, and even future hopes and dreams, and talk about those kind of things. Number 10, you thought I was going to leave it out, sexual fulfillment. That means you have a desire to be connected through sexual intimacy with one another. So there are the top 10 emotional needs, according to psychologist Willard Harley. And the key here is for you to discover what your top 3 emotional needs are, and for you to know what your partner's top 3 emotional needs are, and then to intentionally do something to practice their emotional needs and to meet them in these areas. Daily is great, as often as possible, but when you are meeting their top emotional needs, they are going to feel like you love them and feel loving towards you. The problem with a lot of couples is for one spouse, their top emotional need is often at the bottom of the list for the other spouse. And so it may not be natural for you to love your spouse through their top emotional need. And generally you do it through the ones that mean most to you because you want to do it so it gets reciprocated. The key is to know what theirs are and to put action into these things. So here's your challenge. This week, I want you to sit down with your spouse and I want you to identify your top 3 and their top 3 and then put some detail behind them, because admiration by itself is not enough. You need to know what it practically looks like in the relationship. So for admiration, it might be tell me every once in a while that I'm doing a good job, or I'm a good dad, or I'm a wonderful wife. Affection may be different to everybody. Some people may want to cuddle, snuggle on the couch. Others may want to hold hands when they're out. Others may say, I want a hug when you come home from work. Come over and hug me and give me a kiss before you play with the dog or go talk to the kids. So whatever you pick as your top emotional needs, you have to give some practical action behind it so your spouse knows what to do for you in the relationship. And then you have to walk it out. If you find yourself struggling or you don't know what to do, a simple little tool that can help you is the blessing jar. Get a little jar, cup, bowl, I don't care what it is. Put on little pieces of paper things your spouse could do for you that would make you feel cared for. These will line up with your emotional needs. They can do one as well. And then just reach into each other's jar once a day, pull out the sheet, and see if you can do what is on the slip of paper. If you do this, you will stay in love. You will feel connected to your spouse emotionally, and you will enjoy the relationship much more than you may be enjoying it at this point. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Drop a comment in the section below. If you have a way that you keep your relationship fresh and you keep connected emotionally, drop a comment so we can all learn from that. If you need a place to work on your relationship and strengthen your marriage, consider our Altered Marriage membership. And I'll see you right back here next time on Relation Shots.